This video's a little bit different from the others because I'm having to add the audio on after the event because it hasn't recorded it due to the sound editor turning the microphone off. So I've no idea what I said in the tutorial as I was making it, so I'm just going to have to talk my way through it now. So it might be a bit of a mess up, but anyway, I'm using Audacity, which is a free program, and it's a pretty powerful sound editor, so I would advise you get hold of it. And I really use the editor for three things. The first is with ambient sound loops, so I'm going to go through that first. The most important thing with a sound loop is removing anything that's distinctive and repetitive, because you're going to notice that, especially over a 2-hour gaming session. Maybe we play 3-player online and a round takes over 2 hours, and if there's a repetitive noise in the sound loop, it's going to drive you nuts by the end. So I'm just opening one of the bird loops that comes with APCD here, bird loop 0, and it has one of these typical repetitive birds on, and so what I do is edit them out and just create a nice generic bird loop. So you can hear this chirp, 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 chirp every couple of seconds, and things like that really drive me nuts. There's a couple of courses that have actually used this sound loop, and I find it really hard to play them. So what I'm going to do is select a part of the track that's got one of these bird loops in. This is the first instance of it, and I'm going to zoom in to the selection. That way I can see the part that's doing it and a bit around it. And I'm going to now drag select across the part I want to remove, and I try and choose a point at the beginning and the end very similar. So I'm looking at the shape of the waves, because when you cut it out, obviously the start and the beginning have got to join back together, so you want them to join as seamlessly as possible. That way you won't hear a join. So you can, once you cut it, if it doesn't actually work properly, you can always undo and cut it out again from a slightly different point and make sure you get it right. So then I click on the start to set the play point and just have a listen and check if it's okay where I've cut it. But it usually is with background loops, because there's a lot of ambient sound going on in them. Usually you can't notice any join, but just in case it's worth checking. But that sounds okay. So now I'm just playing along to the next instance, and I'll just scroll the screen back, I expect, yeah, and cut out the next occurrence of it. And it's just a matter of going through the whole sound loop like this, trimming out anything that's going to catch the ear and sound repetitive. And there's another one. So there's probably about 20 occurrences of this, so I shall edit this video down a little so that you don't have to sit through me cutting out each one. So once I've cut out all of the repetitive sounds, I go to View, Fit in Window, and it zooms out and I can see the whole complete WAV file now. So I'm just clicking on the start and playing it. So and it's sounding far better. There's nothing jumping out now that's gonna distract you when you're playing, so that's gonna make a pretty good sound loop now for a global loop. So the second thing I use the editor for is for cleaning up the local sounds. When you put in local sounds, you really want no background noises, because they're going to play as well, and as soon as they cut off, it stops playing the sound. Unlike a global, which is playing all the time, because the locals are going to cut off as soon as they finish playing it. You want them as clean as possible. So I'm now loading in another WAV that's got a bit of background noise on, and I'm going to show you how to remove that background noise using Audacity. So we'll listen to the sound. And you can hear this background noise, especially in this part I'm marking there. We've got this constant background sound that we don't want, so there's a great tool in Audacity for removing background noise, and it needs you to sample the background noise you want to get rid of. So I'm just highlighting that section so that it can learn what's background noise and what isn't. And now we need to go into the effect, which is the noise removal in effect, and click on the button to set the noise profile. So once it knows what sound it has to remove, we now need to select all, go to Edit, select all, and we can run the noise removal, and it will actually remove that sound from the WAV file. Now it will pick up the odd frequency that's in the actual sound as well, so you are going to lose a little bit of the sound that you want to keep. So it's a trade-off how much you use this, but it's very good for cleaning up sounds. There are sliders there that you can fiddle with. I tend to use the default settings. And now that's clean. You can see it's a nice straight line there now. When I play it again, it's far cleaner. And I'm just going to try and remove using a second pass, because it's left little parts. They could be part of the bird sound itself, so it's not always a good thing to cut every little bit out, but as I say, each time you do it, it's going to change the sound, because you're going to lose frequencies that are in the actual sound as well. So I'm just trying to trim it off a bit more, and it's going to make a difference. But once it's playing on top of the global, it should sound quite natural again anyway, so because it will blend in with whatever's behind it. I have no idea if I do anything else to this. I don't think I do, so I think we'll be looking at the third thing I use the sound for, the editor for, and that's to add multiple birds to one WAV file. So I do this because of the 8 sound limit, and because I use large area sounds on my course, I don't want to limit myself to 8 sounds. So what I do is string multiple sounds into one WAV file, and I leave large blank areas between them. That way I can put 2 or 3 sounds in each WAV file. I can then have 16 or 24 sounds instead of the 8 that the APCD and links will allow. So to do that, I insert a silent area. So no idea what I'm doing here in this part. But yeah, I seem to be inserting silence now. So using generate silence, you can set the actual time of the silence. So it's defaulting to 30 seconds, which is a fairly good time anyway to have a blank bit. And with these large silent gaps, you can't add a variance to them, obviously, but they're far enough apart, you won't really notice that they're always playing 30 seconds after the other sound. It's a long enough spell to not notice a repeat. So it's added 30 seconds behind, and I'm now just opening another sound, which is a different bird sound, and I'm just going to copy it and add it to the one I've got. And it opens a new copy of Audacity each time you open a sound. So this is a separate copy of Audacity, and I'm just highlighting the bird, clicking copy, shutting the Audacity down, and then pasting it in to this copy by using edit and paste. And we've then got a WAV file with two bird sounds and a 30-second gap between. And it won't use up a lot of extra memory because it's silence. When APCD compresses the sound, it'll actually compress the silence down into almost nothing, so it won't actually add a lot more to your file sizes, even though that you've left 30 seconds or a minute's worth of silence in the middle, because the compression will take care of that, and the file will stay reasonably the same size as it would if you had two separate WAV files. So that's pretty much it, I think. The three main uses I use the editor for. Removing anything that's noticeably repetitive, anything distinctive in a bird loop, cleaning up individual local sounds, and adding multiple sounds into one file separated by silences. That's pretty much it.